Hi everyone, we're Mimicker, here to introduce all kinds of knowledge, even the stuff we didn't know about. All right, let's unpack this. You know those stories, the ones that get passed around, usually starting with something like, "You won't believe what my friend of a friend told me."
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Those whispers that somehow feel both completely outlandish and, I don't know, strangely believable. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of urban legends. We've got a stack of sources here, articles, research, some historical notes, and our mission, really, is for you, our listener, to help us extract the most important nuggets.
Yeah, pull out the good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our goal is for you to understand what these stories are, how they spread, why we tell them, and their surprisingly powerful impact on our world. Think of it as your shortcut, maybe, to being genuinely well-informed about modern folklore.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that urban legends are far more than just spooky tales or, funny anecdotes.
Right.
They are, in essence, a dynamic snapshot of our collective fears, our hopes, sometimes even our creativity.
A snapshot. I like that.
Yeah, they offer this unique lens through which to understand human psychology in a rapidly changing world. These aren't just remnants of the past. They're living, breathing narratives, constantly evolving and subtly shaping how we perceive our daily lives.
That idea of them being a snapshot is really intriguing. So
Yeah.
when we use the term urban legend, what exactly are we talking about? I mean, how do we differentiate a genuine urban legend from, say, just a tall tale or even, the kind of misinformation we see online constantly?
That's a really good question, actually, because the lines can blur. At its core, an urban legend is a form of modern folklore. It circulates as true, often featuring that classic friend of a friend or FOAF element.
And the FOAF thing.
Exactly. And crucially, it usually has a complete narrative structure, not just a fragmented rumor. It's a story with a beginning, middle, and end. And here's the kicker, like you said. Its authenticity is notoriously difficult to verify.
So you can't track it back.
Almost never. You can almost never trace it back to a single verifiable origin.
So the very untraceability is part of its power. That feels kind of counterintuitive now in our information age. Does that explain why we still see so many friend of a friend stories, even when you can theoretically check things instantly?
It absolutely is part of the power, and it's why the term urban legend itself is relatively recent. It was only coined by the American folklorist Jan Harold Brunvan back in the 1960s.
Oh, okay. So it's not an ancient term.
No, not at all. And he didn't just give us a name, he gave us the insight that these seemingly trivial friend of a friend stories were actually a vital, evolving form of cultural commentary. They were distinct from older traditional folk tales. His 1981 book, The Vanishing Hitchhiker, American Urban Legends and Their Meanings, that really formalized the concept academically. It brought it into wider discussion and sort of shifted how scholars approached modern folklore.
That's a crucial distinction then. It separates them from like fairy tales or ancient myths.
Precisely.
And it also isn't just an American thing, is it? This concept feels global.
Oh, completely universal. For example, in France, you had the sociologist Edgar Morin. Back in 1969, he studied this widespread rumor in Orléans about women being abducted from dressing rooms. He called them modern myths.
Huh. Modern myth.
Yeah, and you find direct equivalents like the Japanese Toshi Densetsu, which really took off after Brunvan's work was translated there, or the Chinese urban rumor. The name itself, urban, really emphasizes their rootedness in a contemporary, often city-based environment.
Okay, so beyond their mysterious origins in that FOAF thing, what makes these stories so incredibly sticky? Like, what are their inherent characteristics that let them endure, even thrive across generations?
Well, the power of retelling is immense. While details might shift a bit with each telling.
Like the game of telephone.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
But the core narrative stays remarkably intact. And that friend of a friend device isn't just a stylistic quirk. It personalizes the story. It subtly enhances its credibility, even if the listener deep down kind of suspects it's dubious.
Right, it feels closer, more real somehow.
Exactly. And this creates a space for embellishment, exaggeration, which, ironically, enhances their entertainment value and longevity precisely because they're not tethered to strict facts. They're fluid, adaptable.
It sounds like these stories are almost like engineered to get under our skin. What are the key ingredients in their actual content that make them so potent? tapping into those universal fears and curiosities.
They almost always incorporate elements and anxieties of modern society, and they're set in those incredibly relatable everyday locations, city streets, highways, hospitals, or sometimes just your own home.
Yeah, the everyday settings make them creepier somehow.
Definitely. And they nearly always contain sensational elements, mystery, horror, disgust, or even humor sometimes. Psychological studies have actually found that stories evoking strong emotions, especially fear or disgust, are far more likely to be widely circulated and remembered.
Really? Disgust.
Yeah. Think about it. There was an experiment with students, and it showed they were way more likely to recall and share a highly disgusting plot, like the example was unknowingly eating one's own pet.
Oh, wow.
It taps into these deep-seated aversions and curiosities, and that gives these tales their powerful societal influence.
Yeah, that's a fascinating insight into why they stick. And the way these stories travel, that's where we really see them mirror our own technological journey, right? How do they go from, like, campfire whispers to worldwide phenomena?
They absolutely reflect our technological evolution.
Yeah.
Early legends, they spread through oral storytelling, maybe newspaper anecdotes. Then mass media like radio and TV specials started picking up urban legend themes, taking local stories to national audiences.
Right. I remember some of those TV shows.
Yeah. And then the 1990s saw the rise of email and early online forums, BBS, bulletin board systems. That gave birth to legends spread through chain letters online.
Oh, yeah, the email chains. Forward this or else.
Exactly. So the internet really accelerated things, didn't it?
Immeasurably. In the 21st century, the internet just became the dominant platform. You had websites like Snopes.com starting to collect and debunk.
Which is a whole industry now.
Right. While at the same time, online forums were constantly generating new ones. And now, with social media platforms, Facebook, X, WeChat, Threads, Xiaohongshu, you name it, these stories can go global with just unprecedented speed.
Yeah, terrifyingly fast sometimes.
A single shocking story can literally spread across continents in hours. It truly shows how media advancements have dramatically changed their reach and cross-cultural impact. They're more pervasive than ever.
No question.
All right, enough with the theory for a minute. Let's get to the good stuff. What are some of the most classic urban legends, and what do they maybe tell us about ourselves? I know they fit into broad themes like horror, thriller, cautionary, humorous, conspiracy, but often they blend these.
They definitely mix and match.
We've got 3 famous ones to share today, starting with a classic that still gives me shivers. It's called The Licked Hand.
Oh, that's a classic creepy one.
It really is. The story goes something like this. There's a little girl. She has a dog that always sleeps under her bed to keep her company. Knowing her dog's there, she isn't afraid to sleep alone. Before bed, she reaches her hand down, the dog licks it, reassures her. She closes her eyes, goes to sleep.
Okay. Standard setup.
Right. Then, middle of the night, she wakes up. There's this sound, a dripping sound. Thinks it's just a leaky faucet, too lazy to get up. Feeling a little scared, though, she reaches her hand under the bed again.
Oh.
The dog immediately licks it. Comforted, she drifts off to sleep. But the dripping persists. Around 3 a.m., the dripping wakes her again. Annoyed now, but still doesn't want to get up. Reaches her hand down one more time.
Dog licks it.
Dog licks it. She drifts off again. Finally wakes up around 7 a.m. The dripping sound's still there. So she finally decides, okay, fine, I'll get up and turn off the faucet.
And then
She opens the bathroom door, and she's just frozen by what she sees. Her dog is hanging from the shower head, its blood dripping into the tub.
Yeah.
That was the dripping sound she heard all night. And scrawled in blood on the mirror are the words, "Humans can lick too."
Ugh. Yeah. That story, The Licked Hand, it's just quintessential horror and thriller urban legend material, isn't it?
Totally.
It works so effectively because it taps into incredibly deep-seated fears about safety within your own home, your sanctuary. And especially the betrayal of trust, right? Something that's supposed to protect you.
The dog.
Yeah, it's a powerful narrative because it twists something comforting a pet, a loyal companion, into the source of absolute terror. It preys on our most primal need for safety at home. That makes it deeply unsettling.
Okay, that one still gives me goosebumps every single time. I'm definitely thinking twice about letting my cat sleep under the bed tonight.
Yeah, understandable.
Now, for another classic, a ghost story this time that actually predates the internet entirely, The Vanishing Hitchhiker. This one's been around since the 1930s in America, right around when cars were becoming common.
Yeah, tied to the rise of the automobile.
The tale usually describes a driver picking up a mysterious young female hitchhiker on a lonely road at night. She's quiet during the journey, and when they reach her destination, she's just gone. vanished,
Poof.
often leaving behind a clue, like maybe a jacket on the back seat or she gave an address. When the driver follows the clue to her home, he's told that the young woman died years ago.
Chilling.
And in the most popular version, he then finds her grave in a nearby cemetery and sees his jacket draped over her tombstone.
Ooh, yeah. That's the kicker. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this legend really reflects anxieties about those newly popular technologies like cars and also the inherent distrust of strangers that comes with increased mobility.
Makes sense. More travel, more strangers.
Exactly. It plays on our fear of the unknown, especially on isolated roads at night. And what's fascinating is its cross-cultural variations. You mentioned it's global. In Taiwan, there's the famous Shanghai Tunnel ghost.
Oh, yeah. How does that one go?
Similar setup. A taxi driver picks up a woman late at night near the Shanghai Tunnel. She asks to go to a certain address, gets out, says she'll get money, and disappears. He waits, gets impatient, knocks on the door. The family tells him their daughter died years ago. Sometimes they even offer him ghost money as payment. Locals often explain this by pointing out the tunnel is right near a large cemetery and funeral home complex.
Wow.
So the taxi becomes this sort of modern link between the living and the dead. And even before cars, European folklore had stories of horsemen giving rides to ghostly passengers. So the core motif, unknowingly encountering a spectral presence, clearly has this universal cross-cultural appeal. It just adapts.
So the technology changes horse, car, taxi, but the core human anxieties about death and the unknown, they stay the same. It's a powerful observation.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, and finally, let's head to Japan for a truly unsettling tale, one that apparently caused widespread panic. Kuchisake-onna, or the Slit-Mouthed Woman. This one first became popular in the late 1970s, right?
Late 70s, yeah. Around 78, 79. And it's considered Japan's first major homegrown urban legend to capture the public imagination on such a massive scale.
So the legend goes. A young woman wearing a surgical mask, which isn't uncommon in Japan, approaches a pedestrian, often a child, and asks, "Am I pretty? Watashi, Kirei."
Right.
If the person answers no, she kills them with a sharp weapon like scissors or a knife.
Brutal.
If they answer yes, she removes her mask to reveal this horrific mouth, slit from ear to ear in a grotesque grin, and asks again, "How about now?"
Ugh. Nightmare fuel.
Totally. If the terrified pedestrian says no at this point, they're killed or horribly mutilated. If they still manage to say yes, she slits their mouth with scissors to make them look just like her.
So there's no right answer, basically.
Exactly. Since both yes and no lead to a terrible fate, the legend apparently caused widespread panic, particularly among school children back then.
Yeah, and this raises an important question about the real-world impact these stories can have. The Kuchisake-onna legend, it first appeared around 1978-1979 in Gifu Prefecture, reportedly, and quickly gained significant media attention. It led to genuine social panic.
Like actual panic? Like how?
Newspapers reported alleged sightings. Elementary school students were spreading the story, adding their own embellished details, naturally, and some parent-teacher associations actually organized groups to escort children to and from school, specifically to protect them from her.
Wow. That's incredible. Genuine social panic over a story. It makes you wonder, was the legend causing the anxiety, or was it just giving a face to fears that were already there? Maybe about anonymous threats or attacks.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It seems likely the panic reflected a pre-existing societal anxiety about anonymous attackers, especially those targeting vulnerable people like children. But what's also fascinating is how the community responded within the narrative itself. As the rumor spread, various escape strategies emerged. People started saying you could give an ambiguous answer, like, "You look average," to confuse her.
Right.
Or throw candy or coins at her feet to distract her while you run. Or even shouting odd words. One popular one was pomade or sometimes wax apple, supposedly, that would make her retreat.
So people were actively trying to game the legend.
Exactly. It added these layers of complexity and engagement. It turned passive listeners into active participants, trying to figure out how to solve or survive the encounter. And, I mean, she has since become a total staple of Japanese pop culture, manga, films, TV shows, video games, everything. Even influenced some Western shows.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So stepping back a bit, what does this all mean beyond just the creepy entertainment value? What's the deeper cultural, maybe psychological impact of urban legends? Why do these stories, like the ones we just heard, hold such sway over us?
Well, I think urban legends often serve as a kind of reflection of the collective subconscious, you know. They act as an explanatory machine for societal anxieties, especially about new things or unfamiliar environments.
That explanatory machine.
Like how?
Okay, so for example, back in Meiji-era Japan, when electricity was new and scary, there was this strange rumor that the new electrical wires were coated with the blood of virgins.
What? Why?
It explained the unsettling appearance and maybe the smell of the newly installed black tar cables. It gave a reason, however bizarre, for something new and potentially threatening. Or more recently, in early 2000s Taiwan, there was a huge rumor about genetically modified mutant chickens with multiple wings and legs being used by fast food chains.
Oh, I think I remember hearing versions of that.
Right. It clearly reflected public unease towards fast food, biotechnology, genetic modification, all that stuff. These stories give people a way to express those feelings, to make sense of new, potentially unsettling phenomena. It's almost like a kind of cultural catharsis. Huh. And their influence on popular culture is just undeniable, isn't it?
Yeah,
You see it everywhere. Hollywood films like the Urban Legend franchise, TV series like Supernatural, you mentioned their pilot episode, investigated a Vanishing Hitchhiker variation. They provide such fertile ground for artists.
Absolutely. And in Japan, urban legend elements are just pervasive in entertainment. You see them in manga, like Hell Teacher Newbie, countless video games. This has even fostered this whole fan subculture where enthusiasts exchange local rumors on forums, and they create their own stories. Creepypasta.
Oh yeah, creepypasta, Slender Man and all that.
Exactly. Those fan-created narratives often take on lives of their own, becoming new forms of folklore in the digital age. It's fascinating to watch.
But urban legends also seem to have a tangible impact on our actual daily lives and social behavior, right? Even if we think we're rational and skeptical, they can genuinely change how we act.
They certainly can, especially stories touching on public safety or health. They can raise awareness, sometimes productively, even if the legend itself is baseless. For instance, those long-standing rumors about AIDS-infected needles hidden in public places like movie theater seats or payphone coin returns.
Yeah, I remember those. Terrifying.
They prompted increased security checks in some areas, made people more cautious. Or the poison Halloween candy legend that's made countless American parents wary of treats from strangers. It's even changed how some communities celebrate Halloween, shifting towards more supervised, controlled events.
Right, like trunk or treat things.
Exactly. And as we just discussed with Kuchisake-onna, that incident in Japan caused actual student panic and increased police patrols. It demonstrates that urban legends can really trigger short-term changes in collective behavior, sometimes even influencing public policy.
So while the specific details might vary hugely by location, like you mentioned Taiwan's Shinhai Tunnel ghost versus, say, Japan's Inunaki Tunnel legend, which morphed into this whole story about a cursed, forgotten village.
Right, different local flavors.
The underlying human concerns seem to be pretty universal, just adapting to specific contexts. Fear, safety, morality.
Precisely. People worldwide use remarkably similar story structures to respond to these timeless human concerns. Survival, safety, ethics, the unknown. Whether it's anxiety about new technology, fears about social breakdown, or concerns about morality, urban legends provide this cultural framework for grappling with those issues. They really are reflections of our shared humanity, despite their very localized flavor sometimes.
So, to sort of bring this deep dive to a close then, it feels clear that urban legends are far more than just entertaining spooky tales. They're a vital, dynamic form of modern folklore, really deeply embedded in our culture. They thrill us, they make us think, sometimes they make us laugh, but most importantly, they reflect the unique anxieties and hopes of our time. They are, in a way, our collective subconscious speaking to us through story.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And for all these reasons, urban legends really deserve our serious, or at least curious, analysis. In this age of information overload where we're constantly bombarded with facts, figures, data, they remind us that even the most outlandish tales often harbor the real fears, the real aspirations of actual people in the real world.
That's a really good point.
They offer this fascinating mirror, I think, into the subtle corners of the human mind in modern urban life. They show us what concerns us, what makes us curious, and ultimately what we choose to believe, even if just for a moment.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As you look around your own community, maybe, or scroll through your social media feeds today or tomorrow, what modern anxieties do you see manifesting in new, emerging urban legends? What strange stories are circulating among your friends of friends right now that might just be a contemporary mirror reflecting our current world? Perhaps you'll spot the next great piece of modern folklore in the making. Thanks for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell.